Kyle Klingman with Trackwrestling. We have Alara Boyd. She just finished her freshman season at McKendree, reached the finals of the NCWWA, two-time cadet world medalist. How are you, Alara?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great, and I just got to know about this babysitter deal where there was a babysitter that said she would babysit your sister, but not you. What happened there?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't really remember much about that, but I was younger. But I always hear stories about how I was a really aggressive kid, and I just think it's so funny to hear these stories because my dad would always say that he would bring his friends over, and all I would want to do is climb over, like climb on them, fight them, and all this stuff. But yeah, so I guess I was just a really aggressive kid.
And it sounds like you really took to wrestling right away, that it was a good fit and you found some success early.
Yeah, yeah. I started when I was 4, I believe, and my dad wrestled in high school. But I'm the firstborn out of 4 kids, so I was I guess my dad just thought since he coached the elementary program from where I was from, and I guess he thought it would give me something to do, so kind of started it ever since then.
So did you just continue with it like from 4 on? There was no break. You were off to the race.
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, were you practicing at that point? When was the first competition?
I'm pretty sure I just started competing like as soon as, because they just had like these little tournaments that the elementary kids would go to, and I knew like my cousin, he wrestled in it too. So I had other family that wrestled in the wrestling program too. So we would just go to like these little friendship meets and all these other tournaments just around the county. And ever since then, then after a few years, I started competing at like state and that kind of stuff. But at first, I just started just competing like locally.
And it was primarily with the guys, right? Competing.
Yeah. So there was me and this one other girl that was like my best friend. I played softball with her too, but it was only her and I that wrestled in our elementary club. But as far as that, yeah, we just practiced with the guys.
And in Indiana, that women's wrestling wasn't that popular at all, I would assume. Like, did people
No.
gravitate toward it? Did they appreciate you were doing that?
I think so. Um, I know I practiced with all the guys and I competed with the guys basically because there wasn't really any other women wrestlers around me, so I was used to just wrestling with the guys.
Did you know much about some of the great women's wrestlers when you were growing up?
Um, Luckily, I Sarah and Kayla are from Indiana too. So when I was, I think in middle school, I believe I went and watched Sarah wrestle at the dual nationals or whatever. They were in Fort Wayne, Indiana, so I just drove up there with my coach and my dad, and we watched her wrestle. And I was lucky enough, I was able to talk to her for a couple minutes. So yeah,
What's that like now that I think Kayla Miracle's in your right in your weight class? Is that
yeah.
interesting that
So
that?
I think for me, it's kind of cool because she was always one that I looked up to, and so now it's like I'm at her like level somewhat. Like I'm transitioning into the senior level things. So I think it's kind of cool to see how much I've grown personally.
What's that like when you don't have a women's division and you actually have to compete with the guys? Do you like that?
I always liked it, to be honest. I think wrestling guys has really helped me with my wrestling, and I think it's made me keep my aggressive edge kind of. So, and at this point, I was always just used to it because that's what I grew up doing, just wrestling with the guys, being around them all the time. Like in high school, I was on a guys team. I was the only girl, so I think I was just kind of used to it, and they definitely pushed me. That's for sure.
Do you approach matches differently when you wrestle a guy or a girl, especially in practice?
Yeah. No, I don't really think so. I think I have the same like aggressiveness, I guess. So yeah.
What was the recruiting pitch with McKendree? Why did you end up there?
So actually, I met Sam when I was in 8th grade. I went to a wrestling camp in McKendree, and Allie Reagan was there, and I think it was like when the program first started, like when it first started, and I went there and I talked to Sam, and ever since that camp, we stayed in contact. And he would come watch some of my matches at tournaments. I would talk to him, and ever since really 8th grade, we've just kind of talked. So, but I went and visited King and other colleges, but I think I knew like McKendree was kind of where I wanted to be ever since 8th grade, to be honest. I really like Sam, and yeah, I just felt like home to me.
You've been on 3 age-level world teams. What's that like traveling overseas?
It's awesome. I really enjoy the experiences, especially when I have some of the girls on the team. Macy Kilty, she's one of my best friends. It was awesome. I was on 2 world teams with her, so it's been pretty cool to travel with her too. Actually, and also my parents get to travel with me, so that's also awesome too. I've had other family members besides my parents travel to Greece and stuff with me too, so it's awesome just getting those new experiences.
How do you take those experiences and apply them to the college wrestling that you're in right now?
I think many of the girls on our team, they haven't had the opportunities I've had to travel and wrestle overseas. So I think it's like cool for them to wrestle with someone, I guess, that's had those opportunities. And I think like even on the scene, like when I wrestled at the U.S. Open too, I think that competition overseas helped me better for the senior level tournaments too. So.
How do you balance that going to college, you're in your freshman season or just completed it, and then have goals with the international wrestling? You placed 6th at the U.S. Open as a freshman, which is really impressive, but how do you balance both those?
I mean, I think you just got to focus on what your goals are. And I think it's all about priorities. So you just got to prioritize what's important to you. Like, of course, school comes first, and then wrestling and all your social life or whatever. So, yeah, I think I just found a way to balance all that out.
How do you balance the awesomeness and the craziness that is Sam Schmitz?
I don't know. He's a lot to handle. He comes with dad jokes every morning. I mean, yeah, he's a lot to handle.
What do you guys say about him behind closed doors?
I think we just say how cute Maverly is and how we don't understand how he came from her.
What is it like when he gets excited on the sideline like that? Are you guys paying attention to that?
Oh, yeah, it's awesome. I remember seeing that video of him. It looked like he was dancing during the national duels, the finals, I think it was. That video really cracks me because he was doing some dance move. But, yeah, it's awesome to have a coach that's really into it and that's always there supporting you. So, yeah.
You never had a chance to be in the WCWAs. You could have. They opted not to. But what do you think about the direction right now where NAIA and the NCAA schools are splitting off?
I think it's a big growth for women's wrestling. Um, yeah, I mean, like for Indiana, when I started my freshman year, there really weren't many girls wrestlers. Like the depth wasn't there. But even like my senior year now, there's a lot, or my senior year last year, there's a lot more. There was a lot more women's wrestlers, and it was really cool to see. And even I just think there's more like women's wrestlers now, and there's more depth in the weight classes. So I mean, I think it's a good start to what our main goal is.
What was that like to win a team title in the first time around?
Oh, it was awesome for sure. The team, I love my team. They're so supportive, and no matter what, they've always been there for me. So it was awesome to win it with them.
What's the team chemistry in the wrestling room? Do you guys share a lot of time together? You guys have a good bond?
Yeah, we do have a pretty good bond. We all get along well, and I don't know. It's nice to have that bond because I know I've never really been on this is my first like all women's wrestling team like that. So I mean, it's pretty nice to have other girls to relate to and all that other stuff.
Yeah, take that a step further. So that is interesting that you were on an all-male team and then you go to an all-female team. Was there an adjustment there?
Um, I mean, I've always been around like all the guys and stuff, so I was basically kind of like one of the guys. And now like it's kind of nice to have like a group of girls that can also relate to me being a wrestler, because some of these other girls also only came from like guys teams and stuff, so they can relate to like what I've been through and stuff. So it's nice to have that, to be able to talk to them about that and their experiences with it.
Is there pressure to be successful and do well at this level?
I think there's really pressure at any level, to be honest, but I think Coach Sam really helps me like relax and try not to be nervous or have pressure on me when I wrestle. So,
What weight class do you see yourself fitting in the next few years?
probably still 62 kilos and 143 for college.
Is that a tough cut to get down there?
62 kilos, it's definitely harder, but 43, no, it's pretty easy for 143.
With the next 3 years and just trying to grow as a wrestler, what kind of things do you want to do in order to reach your goals, of course, of winning a national championship?
Um, I really want to talk to Coach Sam. He knows how I wrestle and stuff, so I really want to work with him a lot more because he can help me grow. And I don't know. I just think having my teammates there to support me and all, I think they can really help me grow and all. And I think my freshman year, they've really helped me grow too. Just because I've never had girls on the sidelines like screaming for me when I wrestle. So that was really awesome. I really loved that. And I think just his support and their support can take me a long way. So
That was a bonkers national duels. And you
yeah,
that
yeah,
had to be a lot of fun, that environment.
yeah, it was for sure.
What are you doing in the quarantine right now to stay in shape?
So my little brother, he's 11. He wrestles too. And so we have a wrestling mat at home, so we'll just wrestle around some, and then we do some strength and conditioning and that kind of stuff.
Does he
So,
think he can take you?
no, he he only weighs like 80 pounds. He tries though.
How does your dad stay involved? He was the wrestling coach right away. How does he stay involved in your career?
He goes to almost all my tournaments. Can't remember one tournament he's missed. In my freshman year, I think he went to every single tournament, maybe besides one. I can't remember which one, but I'm pretty sure they went to every single one of them. So that's nice to have them there no matter what.
Do you know what you want to do through college? Do you have major picked out, and do you want to stay involved in wrestling after McKendree?
Yeah, I do want to stay involved with wrestling. Right now my major is business administration. So I'm thinking about doing something with that and wrestling and combining the two somehow. So
Seems like there's a good bond not only with the women's team, but it seems like the men's team is involved too. Do you feel like
yeah.
it's pretty accepting at McKendree of women's wrestling?
Oh yeah, for sure. The guys team, they support us no matter what. At national duels, they were all there, watching us and supporting us whenever they weren't wrestling, and we were watching them, supporting them when they were wrestling. And right after our duel, they were wrestling. It was the heavyweight wrestling. We ran right over there and started watching them. So yeah, it's awesome how close we all are.
Do you have girls that are younger girls that ask you questions and want to reach out to you with advice?
Yeah, I all the time, especially girls from around here in Indiana that are trying to improve, and they ask me where the good clubs are and if I can do like privates with them and stuff and all that good stuff. So it's pretty cool, to be honest, to get people asking me like all these questions.
How do you balance that? Do you try to get back to everyone?
Yeah, I really like to help them as much as I can, because I know when I was younger I didn't really know anything about women's wrestling, and so I'm trying to help them give them all the tools they need and help them whatever way I can.